I am now joined by NASCAR Xfinity Series driver Brennan Poole, friend of the show. We're not doing Power Hour today, Brennan. This is more like a powerful, 15 minutes or so. I guess we'll see where this goes. But I had to talk to you this week just after that incredible run at Martinsville Speedway. It was the highlight of my weekend, seeing you drive that 44 car through all the carnage into the top five for your first top five finish of the season. Just take me through the end of that race and how much that finish means to you and your team early this year.
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, we've been working really, really hard to have the opportunity to get results like the one we got this past weekend. And the guys just built me a really awesome race car. It was really fast right off of the truck. It kind of did everything that I wanted it to do. I mean, we were able to sort of play some tire strategy there. So at the end of the race, there were several of us that tried to do this, but it just ended up working out well for me because some of those guys got taken out at the end, like with the 16 and the 48 and the 10 got damaged. Like all those guys are kind of on a similar strategy that we were on. So I ended up being one of the guys up there in the top 10 that had tires at the end of the race. So it really played into our hand really well. And I just kept choosing the bottom on the restarts. There was one time where I probably could have taken sixth on the outside, and I elected to stay in the bottom. I actually gave up two rows and restarted ninth, and I was like, maybe I gave up too much there, but it still worked out. And but yeah, it was just a really good weekend, really good for us in the points. After Daytona, we've just had a great last 6 weeks. They've just been awesome, and we've had such strong results. So I'm really proud of all the guys. I'm proud of the fast race cars they keep putting on the racetrack for our team and our situation. You know very well. We run on a quarter of the budget of pretty much the rest of the field. So for us to be in the mix every single week and be clicking off top 20s and then get a top five this past weekend, I mean that's huge. We don't have leased engines, we don't have sim, we don't have any of that other stuff that most of the big teams have. Our cars are cars that have been part of Martin's Motorsports for a long time before it was even Alpha Prime. So it just comes down to the people. We got great people at Alpha Prime Racing, my crew chief Frank, my engineer Ty, Clate, Alex, Victor, everybody that works on my car, my spotter Brandon Lines. Everybody just did an unbelievable job, and we were able to be in position there to have a shot at it and get a great finish. And we're in the dash for cash.
Oh, yeah.
First time Alpha Prime's ever been in the dash. So pretty big moment for this team.
Before we move off Martinsville, I do want to get your take. I don't know what your view was really of from behind the wheel on that last lap,
Yeah.
but I'm sure you've seen the replay. What did you make of the move Sammy Smith put on Taylor Gray, and really just what was your take on the style of racing we saw Saturday night?
Well, I mean, the first thing that I'll say is just like that far back to make that move and to wreck somebody is just, in my opinion, that's a lot. That's too much. I mean, it's just too much. But I mean, I think the most of the race, though, I mean, I didn't really see anything that bad to me as far as like, oh, people were like, this is embarrassing. I'm like, I don't think so. I've gone back and kind of watched it. I mean, it's pretty typical Martinsville as far as my everything that I saw, other than like the last, like just straight up dive, run you, don't lift. I'm still in the throttle until I hit you in the corner type thing. Like that's just like you can't. I mean, that's just stuff like that should not happen. But as far as like beating and banging and it just kind of, I mean, it's just kind of part of it. And I think that's why, to me, that is sort of what's entertaining about the sport. I mean, you look back over the years and you see guys like Jeff Gordon with the bumps and runs, and Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt Sr., who maybe have stepped over the line here and there, right? But at the end of the day, it's all entertainment, and it's all to me, it's all exciting. Now, I've been on both ends of it. I've moved people out of the way to win races, and people have been upset with me, and I've also been flat out wrecked to on the last lap as well, coming to the check. Like it's happened to me too, right? So, and it sucks when you're on that side of it. But I don't know how you change that. I think that's just kind of part of the sport. I do not want to see a rule put in place at all. I think that is absolute nonsense. Like Denny Hamlin's tweet after the race, I want to be like, stop talking. We don't need any more judgment calls. There's already enough rules. Let's not put any more rules into it. It kind of the drivers need to handle it themselves. And I think, I mean, regardless of what Sammy Smith might say or whatever comes out of this afterwards, I think he knows that that was too far no matter what he might say on camera, like, as a race car driver, and another race car driver that it happened to, like Taylor Gray, what goes around comes around, and this has always had a way of policing itself. I think I don't think we need rules. I think we just need to love Martinsville for what Martinsville is, and that's kind of what it is, right? I mean, it's just we some people don't like super speedways, right? Because it's like, oh, anybody can win, and they just all wreck at the end, and whatever, whatever, right? It's like everyone kind of has their own thing, and maybe Martinsville's not for you, but it's kind of always been that way for forever, in my opinion, at least in what I've watched my entire life.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. This isn't a traditional podcast episode, so I'm not gonna we're not gonna debate this too much. I'll say I thought the Sammy Smith incident, that's the kind of thing that if there is going to be a judgment call penalty, that's when it would come into play. I'm with you on the rest of the race. There's some beating and banging out there. That is Martinsville, like you're saying. But I just hate seeing the way Richmond ended last year with Austin Dillon, when Hocevar wrecked Heim in the championship. Like some of these just overzealous moves that don't feel like racing moves. I feel like that's where, if a call ever were to be put into place, I could see something happening. But we can debate it. We'll save that for a full podcast episode, Brennan. I want to get, so fans obviously saw you finish top 5 this weekend. I looked this up, and I hope, I don't want this to psych you out or anything, but this was your first non-super speedway top 5 finish since your Chip Ganassi racing days. And so I'm pretty familiar with your story, but I know a lot of fans who watch Saturday Night maybe aren't familiar with kind of the ups and downs. There were years there where you weren't racing full-time in NASCAR. There was an infamous sponsor. There was you scratching and clawing your way back into the Xfinity Series. You've made Cup starts recently. I guess, can you maybe tell fans a little bit about what some of those years were like before you got to where you are now with Alpha Prime and contending on a regular basis?
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt like in my career that I've been fighting for my spot. And even when I raced ARCA full time in 2012, the next year I really didn't have a ride. Even though I won races and won the Speedway Championship and really had, it seemed like a lot of hype around me. And I felt like I could do the job. I just didn't have sponsorship money to move forward. So I kind of ended up working, 3 jobs. Really, I worked at Venturini Motorsports. I was spotting and filming dartfish for a company that did a bunch of stuff for RCR. I used to go and like process dartfish in Ty Dillon and Austin Dillon's haulers when they were running like trucks and Xfinity and stuff. And I was the guy on the roof with the camera filming the laps. So I did get to see and learn a lot of stuff through that process. But I was just trying to find a way to be involved in the sport in some way to figure out, how I could get an opportunity to drive. And then ultimately, I won a race in Kentucky, filling in for John West Townley, and that's when I sort of got my break. Right, I'd sort of just met the sponsors that sponsored me through my Ganassi journey, and wasn't really sure where that was going to go. I just literally just met them, but fortunately, won a race, met Harry Scott and Chip and everybody involved in that whole thing, and I got an opportunity to race for several years over there. Ultimately, there what was falling out. Many of you already know that part of the story because it was pretty much out there. And Yeah, and so I didn't really race much. I raced a couple truck races in the end of 2018 with the startup team and ran pretty well, like 15th and 19th. And then I got a call from Bones, which was On Point Motorsports, and Stephen Lane wanted me to come drive the 30 truck for him. So I kind of went over there. Didn't have much of a budget. We are going to try to race as much as we could, and ended up finishing second at Charlotte to Kyle Busch in 2019, which was a great race for us. And our truck was broke too, which was also crazy. But that kind of led to more sponsorship and more people supporting me, and then an opportunity to race Cup full time, which not with a top team, but like a 30th place team. And so that was sort of the one of the best opportunities for me to at that time. So I went and did that. And then through that, I actually had an opportunity to race like with a really good Cup team. I was really excited about it, but COVID was tough, right? I lost one of our main sponsors and ended up losing that opportunity, in January of 2021. So I was sort of bummed. I went snowboarding with my cousin, broke my wrist, and was didn't get the race all of 2021. I raced one race for On Point Motorsports with Bones in the 30 truck again. And then that next year was really sort of a difficult year for me. I wasn't sure if I was going to race or not. My mom passed away in February. And I was just kind of lost. And Mike Harmon called me and asked me to drive his car, try to qualify him for some races. And I still just really wanted to race. So I went and did it. And Mike does everything the old school, hard way with very little. And we made the most of it. And ultimately, I got caught the eye of Johnny Davis, and he gave me an opportunity to race the six. And that's where Tommy Joe started talking to me. And I felt like with everything that he had going on with his program and sort of the direction they were trying to go in, I felt like it would be a good place for me. I really felt like I could get good results there. And so we talked about it for a long time, and ultimately ended up making the decision to work together. And man, last year was really awesome. I felt like I just kind of felt like going there, I could run top 20 in points and maybe have a shot at making the playoffs if things just went totally perfect. And I feel like we did that last year. And this year we're sort of trying to do the same thing. But each year you always want to get better and improve on the team. And I feel like we're doing the best that we can with everything that we have to work with. And it's been a tremendous amount of fun. I've really enjoyed all my guys. Frank Kerr, who is my crew chief, who's literally a racing legend in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. The guy's an unbelievable racer, but even an awesome crew chief. And I think because he has all that racing background, we just communicate so well. He's also from the Northeast, New Jersey. My wife's from New Jersey. I don't know if that's something to do with it, if that's why we connect so well, but we just get along really great. And I really respect all my guys and all the hard work that they put in, and they give me some really well put together race cars that don't have problems, and we're able to just go out and finish races and get results. And so it's certainly been a wild journey, and certainly been times where I didn't know what was next, but I just had faith and just believed that God would open that next door for me. And He's certainly done that. And I've just gone through the doors when they opened and had faith that it would work out, and that God was putting me where I needed to be. And so here I am. I'm having a lot of fun and really enjoying what I'm doing right now. And as a racer, I still want more, right? I still want
Yeah.
to get back to Sundays. I still want to get in a winning situation and go win. But every time I climb into the 44, I'm still there to win. I prepare, and I don't care about the circumstances, and I just do everything I can to try to go out there and win the race regardless. And a lot of hard work paying off to get a big result like that. It means a lot to everybody. So, and I think it's big motivation too as we continue on here, and we get to go race for $100,000 in a couple weeks at Bristol, which is really huge. And the first time the team's been able to go after that, and Bristol's a good place for us, and anything can happen. We got three other guys we got to beat that are real good, but I feel like anything can happen right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a great, you kind of just summed it up, your journey these last few years. I find it remarkable because I think we first met around 2020 when you were driving the 15 car. But we've gotten to know each other better the last couple of years. But going back and looking at your career, I feel like there's a lot of drivers who get that opportunity in their 20s, and then if that doesn't lead to another opportunity, they just fizzle out and you don't hear from them much more. But like here you are still going and still having these standout performances, still catching people. What you did last year, you guys finishing 16th in points, incredible stuff. Like continuing to turn heads, continuing to get better and better opportunities. Like it's just, there's peaks and valleys in racing, but very few drivers seem to dig themselves out of those valleys. You've been able to do that over the past few years. I just find that remarkable and extremely impressive. Brennan, I'll wrap up with this. Looking ahead to Darlington, not Dash for Cash this week. You get Throwback Weekend on its own. You guys have a pretty fun Jeff Gordon inspired Looney Tunes paint scheme. Real good shot. Y'all win the Throwback Award back-to-back years, frankly. How does it feel to be Looney Tune-ified on the hood of your car this week?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Shout out to Ryan Pistana, just an awesome job with the car, and to CW and Sons and Clark's for letting us do it. It's just really, really cool. And I have this diecast, and so I'm gonna bring it with me this weekend for extra good luck. But I'm really excited. I never thought I'd see a Looney Tunes version of myself, or myself wearing Vans on the side of a race car is pretty cool because I'm, a skate kid. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's really awesome. And yeah, I hope everyone please vote for us. It would be awesome to go back to back. The designer does all the stuff for the team. He works so hard, and this is kind of like the only award in NASCAR you can win as a designer minor, so this is like a really big deal to everyone. So this would be really special for him if we could go back to back. But of course, for myself and all the partners and everything, I want that too because it's just man, what a fun weekend to be a part of it. And so I'm really excited. I do want to say one thing, Eric,
Hmm.
because we were talking about ups and downs and the peaks of racing and all this stuff. But for all the kids and everyone that's watches your show and are thinking about what they want to do with their life or these dreams and these things that they're trying to go after and trying to what do they have to do to accomplish them? It's like you just have to take it one day at a time. And some doors are going to close and that's okay. And some doors are going to open. And when the doors open, you got to go through them and go through that and learn and enjoy the journey and know that sometimes it's not going to be great, but that doesn't mean that it's not making you stronger and that's not going to make you end up where you're supposed to be. And I think that's the most important thing. And I think, if you give up on your dreams, like you were talking about, I've been fighting to stay here. I didn't just go away, right? Well, this is, I'm fighting for that dream and you have to fight for it. And if you give up, you're never going to get there. So just keep fighting for it and go through the doors that are open. And when a door closes, just move on to the next one.
Yeah, I like that. Very motivational stuff there to wrap up the show. I'm trying to think who said it. Something like the best goals are worth fighting for. Kind of is one way to look at it. You're doing the right thing if it's worth the fight. Brennan, I really appreciate your time doing this sort of off the cuff. I know in a few days we'll be recording another podcast episode and we'll dive in deeper to some of the hot racing topics, but I wanted this to be all about you because I was super excited this weekend. One of the few things I enjoyed watching that Saturday night race was seeing you work your way into the top 5 and get that finish. So appreciate you stopping by. We'll talk to you again soon, man. Good luck this weekend at Darlington.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. This was a tremendous amount of fun, and yeah, thanks for the shout outs during the race too online. I appreciate it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to catching up on the next Power Hour.